in what could be termed as another escalation from the Chinese government. About 100 military planes from the Chinese government were spotted around Taiwan Sea, and this has happened in the last 24 hours or so. About 40 of these planes did cross the meridian zone, which has acted as an official barrier between China and Taiwan for the last several decades, and any violation of those meridian zone has always been alarming for the Taiwanese perspective, and they have always acted it as an incursion in their territorial water. Now the point is that Chinese have never accepted the fact that Taiwan is an independent country. They always consider Taiwan as part of mainland China, and they have never shied away from, at least principally, from using any force or military force to integrate the Taiwan as a nation in mainland China. The this wave of escalation that we have seen in the recent months have actually sparked ever since the Nancy Pelosi's famous visit of August 2022 in Taiwan, and since then there has been regular incursion by the Chinese military, sometimes naval assets also, into the water that is closer to the Taiwanese island. Now, why China is trying to do that? There could be two reasons. First, of course, they are trying to literally test the water as to how will it be if there will be any military force or any attempt to integrate Taiwan to the mainland China by military force from the Chinese side. At the same time, they are also trying to test the patience and the kind of international reaction it will invite in case they use the force. Most of the time, we see that a Chinese incursion over Taiwan or any Chinese military plane flying near Taiwanese islands have always invited criticism from Western countries and USA as well, who have always stood by the Taiwanese cause, and they have also been supplying a lot of arms, ammunition, and training to the Taiwanese forces and military personnel in the past several years. But will they be able to also support Taiwan in case there is a military force from the Chinese government which comes over to take over Taiwan and integrate it to mainland China? That remains a big question because of the current geopolitical scenario. Especially, we have seen a lot of NATO, European Union, and USA forces being highly invested in Ukraine. Ukraine against Russia, where the military fight has been going on for more than 1.5 years now. A lot of their finances and both military resources have been largely deployed and depleted as well in the last 1.5 years, if you could say so. So in that scenario, Chinese drill is important because it is kind of testing how much of support international countries or international military alliances could send off to Taiwan. And meanwhile, these regular incursions that Taiwanese government has reported, they have largely been not responded by from Taiwanese side for obvious reason, because they do not want to escalate and they do not want to be engaged in a direct confrontation with any Chinese naval assets or Chinese air assets. Meanwhile, China has continuously tried to breach that median zone, which has acted as an official barrier between China and Taiwan. They have tried to gauge their supremacy, the military supremacy. Taiwanese side have also tried to create some kind of air defense capability in case of any Chinese aggression on the island, and how they will respond. But largely, Chinese military remains a very dominant part in that region, and to say that Taiwan will be able to fend off itself in case of any Chinese military might comes near to it to integrate with the mainland China, that is a bit too much. Because but yeah, of course there could be some possibility that Chinese military will be able to stop from being totally in control of Taiwanese island for some days probably. And those days could be something that they would try to bargain and seek help from the international community. This is what Taiwanese strategy has largely been around. We'll have to see this Chinese incursion that has been in those media zone. Has it been just an harassment, which the Taiwanese side, Taiwanese military has called that is an harassment from the Chinese side, or is it some kind of trying to gauge the military or geopolitical situation that would allow Chinese military over a course of maybe a couple of years, when they will find it feasible that they can now go ahead and attack Taiwan and integrate it by force into the mainland China. So literally, the lot of geopolitics and geoeconomics have been shifting in the last few years very fastly, And in the scenario of unpredictability, geopolitical alliance, anything could be true. And the Chinese economic might and Chinese military might has largely been not tested in terms of any war or conflict in the last several decades. But will China be able to control those might or those straits around Taiwan? That remains to be seen. At least China has clearly expressed its intention that it wants to dominate that area, and the last few months have been, much to tell the world that they are the dominant power in that region, and they can use their forces. They can use, or they can violate certain rules that even breaches the autonomy of Taiwanese government as well.